is Betty Patricio Barr. My father was David Martinez Barr, or Patricio, and everyone knew him as Matias. And he came here from Mexico as a very young man in his 20s and spoke no English, and he used to ride the truck that came to pick up the workers from the county courthouse to go pick apples. That was his job. And eventually he met my mother. She was Native American. And they had my two brothers and myself. And I have lived in Muskegon for 79 years. And I have done very little field work. I used to weed onions, pick cherries, and blueberries, which I was never good at because I wasn't fast enough. I never made much money. But my dad never wanted me to work in the fields. He said, no, as long as I am working and have a job, you will not go to the fields. So everyone thought I was lazy, but it wasn't my fault. But Dad didn't know English, and what English he did know came from us three kids from school, and we taught him as much as we could, which he picked up pretty good. He worked at a section hand on the Pere Marquette Railroad at that time. He worked there for a great number of years, and eventually he ended up at Lakey Foundry, and after that, well, he passed away at a very young age. He was only 51 when he passed away. So he's been gone a very long time. And I never knew much about the family he came from because he didn't go back in family history like a lot of families do to talk about the grandparents we had in Mexico. I had correspondence with a cousin that lived there, which he didn't know English, didn't write English, he wrote everything in Spanish. And I used to have to take the letters to people that could read them for me and tell me what they were all about. And I got pictures from there, and but like I said, my father worked hard. He worked on the railroad. He was a section hand at the time, Pere Marquette Railroad. And he worked there for a great number of years. And so I wasn't born here, I was born up north. I came here as a baby, and I've been here, like I said, 79 years. So I didn't live in the Ryerson Heights, but I lived near the Ryerson Heights, and I got acquainted with a lot of the Mexican people, and I got into their families because I was the only girl in my family, so there wasn't a lot I could do with my brothers. They went off with their friends, and they didn't want me tagging along. So anyway, that's just the way it was. But I've been happy here. I found work here. I didn't graduate from high school, but then after my husband passed away, I knew I had to make a living for myself, so I went back to school, and I got a GED, and I went into the nursing home care at the time, and I went to school for 2 years for that, but I know my husband, my dad, and my brothers probably would be proud of me. I have one brother left, and we're very close, but we don't stick our nose in each other's business. But I'm happy here. I've made a lot of friends, and a lot of the families that I have known here have invited me to be part of their family because, like I said, there was just my three brothers and myself after my father died. And we got along. I mean, different families took us in and gave us a home and taught us what we know today, and that's just the way it is. And I've been happy here. And I have my sister-in-law with me. Oh, she's full of history. Boy, she could write a book on her own.
I'm the oldest of 16, so, and I've been here, I'm going to be 80 next year. So yes, I have a lot of history. I need a stand of my own.
You speak it then.
I'm one of the ones that hasn't been able to say no to Kanye for years. Jeez. Well, I remember coming across to Muskegon from San Antonio in a big truck, one of those one-ton trucks with a thing over it. My 3 brothers and I and my mother, who was a single mother. We were the last ones here from our family, the Casares family. All my uncles, my aunts, they all settled down in Ryerson Heights. And so my Uncle John got us a place here, 40D Ryerson Heights. I still remember that too, my address. What I liked about that place is the kids could go out in the dark. I mean, the lights would be on, the street lights would be on, and all the kids would be outside playing tag, playing whatever kids play. And you all got to meet all the kids. Nobody said you had to be home at a certain time. Only if the lights were on, we could still be out there. That's where I met my husband. He was about 3 years older than me, but found him right away. What I liked about it too is that we didn't have to go out of the neighborhood to enjoy ourselves. The different families would have parties, and everybody was invited. You didn't get an invitation, everybody knew there was a party there. And so we were entertained. We had bands that would, amongst the men, they would, create a little band, and there was our music. And also, I liked about it is that everybody had a specialty that they would share with the rest of the people. My Uncle John was the plumber, another one was the carpenter. My mother was the seamstress, and she would sew clothes for everybody, including, I think, Petra, your sister Petra. She made her whole wedding dress, hats, everything, the whole trousseau. Let's see, seamstress, cooks. Oh, my aunts were the cooks. My aunt Chabela, my aunt Casimira, my aunt Lupe. They were the cooks. My mother was a seamstress, they were the cooks, so I never learned how to cook either, so. I learned how to sew, though, and learned how to knit, that kind. Yeah, and when we grew up, I think most of us went to Catholic Central, the families that I grew up with.
Yeah,
and we still,
my cousin.
and we still hang around together, Connie, me. Can you imagine 65 years and you still know the same people? And after growing up in that same area there, as far as education, my husband went off to the military, and I stayed home for a few years and then went to work. But the education, like Mary was saying, was really important to us at the schools. And her kids and my kids have all gone on to college, and we kind of pushed that because I didn't have the opportunity to go to college, but my kids all did. So, questions?
No, let me see that. They don't want to.